I'm a second generation bookseller building the used bookstore of the future. About 9 months ago, I got a fellowship to build an AI-powered technology to help identify and catalog books printed before 1970 without an international standard book number. Here's the really ugly prototype that we built, and I'm in the darkest, dingiest, most in disrepair part of my family's book warehouse, which is a place we store books that are not at the bookstore. Together between the bookstore and the warehouse, we have about 500,000 books. And I want to show you something that I caught that made me really excited and kind of illustrates why I'm doing the project and why I philosophically really believe in both bookstores and what I'm doing. I'm about to open the book and point at a name that I found when doing this, because in the computer what happened is the AI just generated the details from the book to create our listing for the book. And it picked up this book designer here from the back page, Maurice Serle Kaplan. And I thought to myself, that's really interesting. They don't normally include book designer in like the listing for a book. And they had it in this book. And so I said, I wonder if this is in the listings elsewhere for this book. First of all, I wonder if there are listings for this book. It's from 1948. But then I found out it's not a terribly rare book. You know, it's listed on the internet. I found it on WorldCat. I found it on ABE Books. I found it in a few places. But then I searched Maurice Serle Kaplan, pioneer preacher, on Google. And then I searched it on WorldCat, ABE Books, and nothing. And I was like, wow. If there was a huge Maurice Serle Kaplan fan or someone in his family who wanted to find all the work of this typographer, they couldn't. And that's really interesting. You know, this connection is invisible on the internet. If you weren't holding the book right in front of you, this wouldn't exist. But it was important enough that when this person moved offices, they blurbed about it in the New York Times. Here's the page from the New York Times. Here's the blurb. Pause it if you want to read it. And you're like, who cares about typography? Well, Steve Jobs, for one, built Apple around typography. But this is the kind of information that we're losing out on by not kind of preserving this sort of information better. There's a huge need for preserving quality metadata about these books because we've outsourced a lot of this information, guardianship. And if you believe like George Orwell or Zach De La Rocha said, who controls the past controls the future, and who controls the present controls the past, and you have an vested interest in protecting this kind of data, then follow along here. I talk about running a bookstore, both the lighter side and the business side, and how cutting-edge technology can be good for older idiosyncratic businesses like a bookstore. And I also talk about books and reading and how they can, deepen and enlarge your life.